The purpose of this video is basically to show that I'm an idiot and that I pretty much lost a ton of money because I opened up all these Marvel figures when I was a kid. So about 100 years ago, I had something called a childhood. During that childhood and continuing into my adulthood, I've always loved Marvel Comics. And when I was a kid, I used to collect Marvel Legends, and I'm talking about the OG Marvel Legends. So me and a couple friends decided to go and seek out my old Marvel Legends figures, which were basically just packed away in my sister's garage. Before we get started here, I am not a toy expert. I've never claimed to be a toy expert, so I'm going to give figures and facts on these toys and how much they sold for and how much they're worth now. Truth is, a lot of things jump up and down in value. I don't really know. I'm just going by what the internet tells me and what the good old wizard of Wikipedia tells me. Let's get oh shit. Let's do it. Okay, so we're about to head out to my sister's place to go, you know, see my old toys. We got David right here.
Hey, what's up?
And then we got Mitch.
Hey.
It's gonna be fun. Let's go. All right, we made it to my sister's house. Right, guys?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can't see you, but there you are.
Find those
All right.
action figures.
We're gonna find those action figures. Let go. So we didn't find the Marvel figures yet, but we got this little, what's this, Humpty Dumpty guy? heavy duty guy? Alright, this is it.
We found some of the rat doo-doo and some other large feces of which we are not sure. But we found the box.
We found it. Ready for this box? Let's see what we got here.
Let's go.
Watch it be like a completely different figure.
I'm not ready.
Oh, shoot.
Nick, what are you feeling right now?
Wow, nostalgia. I don't know what this is doing in here. This fantastic story. I remember this Giant Man figure. I got this before the Marvel Renaissance, before these were worth anything. This is now $175. And it's damaged. You can see his antenna's gone. And it came with a tiny Ant-Man and Wasp. All right, let's just dive in here. And this fat guy is Mojo. Mojo? Mojo.
Mojo will lead the expedition myself.
I think this was a Build-A-Figure. Yeah, so I got all of them in the line. That's what they used to do, and they still do that today. Marvel Legends still does that.
They just don't throw in comics anymore.
They just don't throw in comics anymore, which they should start doing again, because that was legit. What would happen is I had 3 shelves. The top shelf was all Avengers, middle shelf was all Spider-Man, which was the biggest shelf, and the bottom shelf was all X-Men. All right, so a little history about Marvel Legends figures. Back in 2002, there was a line of toys called the Spider-Man Classics. I'm pretty sure if you collect Marvel Legends now or have ever collected Marvel Legends, you know what I'm talking about. They had like Venom, Daredevil, Spider-Man obviously, and Scarlet Spider. They were like Marvel Legends before Marvel Legends, and they were made by Toy Biz, which is ironically now known as Marvel Toys. But then eventually, Toy Biz started its Marvel Legends line with Series 1. In the beginning of Marvel Legends, with the clamshell packaging, with the comic books included, I really think that's when Marvel Legends shined. Because in 2007, I believe, Hasbro bought out Toy Biz, which that's just what Hasbro does. They bought Kenner for the Star Wars property, and they're the Disney of toys. Once Hasbro bought them, because I believe Marvel Legends were discontinued for like a certain amount of time between that, they started up again with Marvel Legends Infinite, which are still being sold in stores today. But before that, the Toy Biz Marvel Legends, I think, were amazing because you could tell the amount of detail and love that went into them. There's still love that goes into it, but before the Marvel Renaissance that started with the first Iron Man movie in 2008, barely anyone really cared about Marvel. Let's just get real here. None of the general public really cared about Marvel. The only people who cared about Marvel were people like me and my friends. So me and my friends would go out and buy all these Marvel figures. And then what happens is the way collectibles and toys work and get value is that there has to be a period when they're worth less than nothing, which is something called the trough of no value. Basically what happens is when people like me bought these Marvel Legends figures, Marvel wasn't huge, you know what I mean? They were around, but they weren't huge, so people would just buy the figures and then throw them away, whatever. Mr. Sunday Movies has a much better video about this. Like, no one really kept them, but for the people who did keep them, they became rare. It's the same principle of why I can't just go to Walmart right now and buy a Marvel Legends figure and then expect it to be worth like $10,000 in 10 years, is because it's just not how it works. Now that Marvel is so popular, everyone's buying Marvel Legends hoping that that's going to happen one day. But the problem is, everyone's buying them, everyone's buying a package to keep and a package to open. So now being that everyone, including their own grandmother, has one, they're not worth anything. They're not rare anymore. It's the same principle that happened with X-Men #1, which I believe was released in 1990? Hold on, let me check. Yeah, 1991. So basically everyone bought this X-Men comic thinking, oh, it's a #1 issue. It's the reboot of the X-Men series. It's #1. Everyone has to buy one because it's going to be worth something. It's going to be worth thousands. But the problem is everyone thinking that has bought one now. So now everyone has one. So now it's worth nothing. The truth is you can't really tell when something is going to be worth a lot. Like back in the day when you bought the Kenner Star Wars figures, you bought them, played with them, threw them away. Everyone threw them away. But for the people who didn't throw them away, and even those who kept them in the packaging, those are worth a lot of money now.
So of all these, I found the best thing, tiny little Spider-Man.
This is Angel. Look at the wings on this, alright? They don't make Marvel Legends like they used to. Now, you have to buy all the figures and build the wings. This came like this. Look at this. This is Prime. Angel Prime.
That's right. Here's Demo Goblin, who is not the Hobgoblin or Green Goblin. He's different. He's still on his glider.
On his glider.
Look how many gliders you got.
I know, gliders for days.
I saw like 2 more in here, I thought.
Green Goblin, Demo Goblin. I guarantee you I have the Hobgoblin in here.
Right here.
There he is.
On his glider.
And he's on his glider. The Glider Squad. We separated them into X-Men pile. And we got the Avengers pile. All that good stuff. And then we got the Spider-Mans. I feel like I had more though, you know?
Yeah. Now that we organized it and seeing it for the first time in a long time, I felt like you did have more.
One thing I should also mention is that Toy Biz continued to make different lines of Marvel figures alongside Marvel Legends. Like they made Spider-Man figures, I think it was just called Spider-Man, and they also made X-Men figures. Obviously the only one that's still alive right now is Marvel Legends in terms of figures like this. But I bring this up because I bought the Spider-Man Toxin, and this baby is worth about $140 to $200 now, in its package of course. So this is not really worth anything anymore. Some other Spider-Man lines that aren't Marvel Legends is the Sandman, which is now $80, and the Spider-Man 2099, that's $70 in its packaging, of course. And those aren't like huge prices, but I mean, for a 6-inch figure, it's pretty legitimate. But going back to Marvel Legends though, I do have this Series 6 Cable and Bishop. This Cable is worth around $100 in its packaging now. It had more like guns on him and stuff. And this Bishop is worth about $90 now. And this Havoc is around $80 still in its packaging. But then we get into the big guns. Ironically, people must really love Ant-Man now because this Goliath figure, or Giant Man, whatever, it's the same. As I previously mentioned, this is worth around, I've seen from like 140 to like 175 or something on this. And then of course, this Scott Lang Ant-Man. It's like, what? Scott Lang Ant-Man? Like, that's not worth anything. $125 for Scott Lang. I blame you, Paul Rudd. So now, I don't think Marvel invented the whole chase concept, which is basically like, there are certain characters and certain lines in characters that are shipped to fewer stores and, you know, shipped in less quantities to make people chase after them, and those are typically more expensive and they get more valuable as time passes on. That concept still goes on today in a lot of things like pop figures. So when I was younger, we used to call them variants. I don't know if variants and chase are the same thing, but it's basically the same concept. I have two figures here. I have a Psylocke here, and this is just the normal Psylocke, but there is a variant called the Crimson Psylocke, which is worth upwards of about $1,000 now. If any of you guys got a Crimson Psylocke, hopefully you did not open her, because that would suck. Around the same price area, about $1,000, $2,000, is a silver vest Luke Cage. As you can see, I do not have the silver vest. I only have the normal yellow vest, which is fantastic. So yeah, that's pretty... I just freaking broke his belt off. Come on, man. Dang it. I used to go to a certain store called Alien Toys, which would like to have these variants and stuff. I didn't really get a lot of them. I didn't really get the more expensive ones, but there is one variant that I got. Boom. This right here is the Phasing Ghost Rider. So this is a variant on the Series 7 Ghost Rider. And what this is, it's just the normal Ghost Rider figure, except he has a red bike and he has a blue jumpsuit. And as you can see, he is phasing from Johnny Blaze into Ghost Rider. When my dad bought this for me, I begged him to get it for me, and this was $50 back then. This variant here, in its packaging, $215. Yep. One toy I didn't show you was my Hawkeye, which is also $100, but I couldn't find it in that pile of rubble over there. This handful of toys here, this handful of toys that I am dropping and breaking now is $1,300. If every one of these figures was still in its packaging, I could be $1,300 richer. And that's not even counting all the toys I have in there. So I was gonna individually value every single toy and then do like a little montage in this video, but I don't wanna get sad and get really depressed knowing that I probably lost around $10,000. Obviously, I singled out the more valuable ones. Most of the Marvel Legends now are worth around $40 to $60 now in their packaging still. My dad, the smartest man I ever knew, said, "Nico, don't open those toys. They'll be worth something one day." And I'm like, psh, but I want to play them. Listen to your parents, kids. Peace.